Welcome back to another video, and today I'll be discussing the newest makeup announcements and releases. Welcome back, and it's time for my every other weekly makeup news video, and let's just say that for the last couple of weeks there's been definitely some very good launches, and then we're going to be discussing some very questionable launches at the end part of this video. So as per always in these kind of videos, you will be seeing the makeup products that I'll be discussing about here in sort of this corner, and in the description box I'll be linking the accounts that have sort of shared these new releases, and please go follow those accounts, because without them making these makeup news videos would be very difficult. But anyway, we have quite a few things to discuss, so let's just get straight to talking about the newest makeup announcements. So let's get my phone out and start digging what we have for this week. So something that I think was just launched after I think I filmed and edited my previous video. So by Terra has announced new blushes. So these are the tea to tan powder blushes, and these are going to be in 6 shades. I think what was especially eye-catching about these ones is that they come in the similar packaging that I think the sort of highlighter, blush lighters they launched during the holiday season, so I do think it's quite smart that they are using this quite similar packaging now in these blushes. These are all very bright shades, which was pretty surprising, because by Terra is definitely a more of a luxury brand, so usually with luxury brands you see kind of more maybe toned down everyday shades, so it was definitely something a bit different because these are all very punchy. By Terra is a brand that is quite easily accessible. We do have quite many makeup stores that have a By Terra stand, however they are quite expensive, and nothing their products has ever caught my eyes enough to think that I really want to spend the extra money to that brand, because as I said, they are definitely more on the expensive side. These are $65 each. I'm a bit unsure how much that is in euros, because I haven't yet seen these in our sort of like retailers, but it is probably going to be approximately somewhere around 60-70 euros depending on the conversion. But these are already available at least in the US, and I do believe, because it says that these have been released on May 12th, so I think they should also be available on other regions soon. But if you like a very sort of punchy blush shades, I do think for summer these are quite some appropriate shades. Then more sort of summer themed releases. So Colourpop launched a Lilo and Stitch collection. I was initially a bit confused why are we having a Lilo and Stitch collection, because while Colourpop does a lot of Disney IPs, I was thinking that it's quite a while since the original movie came out, but apparently there was going to be another Disney live action film, so that is why this is they probably did the collection now. I do have to say this looks kind of fun. Colourpop, because they ship all the way from States, it takes quite a while for them to come here, and then you have to sort of pay the import fees when the stuff comes, so it's not that affordable when you import it to Europe. But I do think if you live in US and you're looking for something very fun as a summer makeup collection and something that's at a more drugstore price, then I do think this could be something to look into, because I do think the I think the popsicle looking things are, yeah, flavored ultra glossy lip glosses. I do think the popsicle shaped lip glosses look kind of fun. I do think I might have seen some K-beauty brands doing similar packaging, but I do think it kind of, the packaging fits with the whole Hawaii theme. The eyeshadow palette is also kind of nice. We have some color mixed in with neutrals, and I do also think that there are quite many, like overall how they designed this collection, I do think this is quite well done by Colourpop. So then I think a product might have leaked on a German retailer. So Makeup Revolution is going to be launching more blushes. They have been launching quite a few blush products, at least within 1 year range. So this is going to be the Superdewy Blush Burst, and I do think based on the name these are going to be more of a glowy blushes. I do think for summer release these are pretty like appropriate when I look at the shades, and considering that these are more dewier blushes. These haven't yet been released on Makeup Revolution's website, and as I said, I was only able to find these on a German website where the sort of Instagram account had linked these to. So I'm a bit unsure when these are going to be releasing on Revolution's own website and on their retailers, but I do think it's quite soon, because if these have been already available on one retailer, then I think it's gonna be soon also to others. But yeah, another blush launch from Revolution. I do think Makeup Revolution generally is a pretty good brand these days to try out more affordable like makeup products. They have upped their quality. However, something very interesting I learned during last week was that apparently they aren't doing so hot in terms of their finances. They did have a whole lot of like issue, I think it was a year ago, where they had this sort of like, they had the ownership change, and there was some like suspicion that their previous owner had done some financial dealings that weren't really appropriate, and there was like a whole lot of thing going on with them. I do think, for example, Jen Loves, who does these sort of industry news videos, I think she has covered quite well what happened with Revolution. However, after they had sort of, after the brand had sorted out the sort of issues they had with their previous owners, I do think they have gone into a better direction, but apparently now they have put their brand on sale because they announced that they are looking to sell the brand, which is kind of indication that things aren't going so well, which I'm not surprised about, because I think the current economic climate isn't really something that encourages people to buy makeup, and also the pricing of the makeup due to different sort of economic conditions for the brands must be quite difficult, because it's quite unpredictable economic climate at the moment. But yeah, anyway, I would hope that if Makeup Revolution is sold, or they are able to find some sort of other ways to solve their financial issues, it would be good, because it is one of the few affordable drugstore brands widely available in different European countries, and I do think they have now upped their product quality, because they used to be very hit and miss, but now they have done better, so I would hope that they could find a way to sort of sort themselves out, but we shall see. Then I think products that I have shown individually, but now we actually do have a launch date and official images. So YSL is launching 4 new quads, and these are gonna be the Captivating Dunes, Sunrise Safari, Majestic Riord, and Unexplored Garden. I do have to say the Captivating Dunes, which is the more taupish brown looking quad, I do think this looks a bit familiar. I think this looks very close to another quad they already have in their permanent line. I do think the reddish one, which I assume is the Majestic Riord, and then the green one, the Unexplored Garden, they do look kind of interesting for usually what we see with these luxury quads. I have tried one of these. It was the holiday quad one last year. I do think these are good quality if you do want to spend your money on just for eyeshadows from a luxury brand. Sorry, there's something going on in outside of our apartment. Anyway, about these products. I think these will be available soon. I believe some of these might have already be available on, I think I saw an Instagram account posting that there was one of these new shades had been available on Notino, but I wasn't able to find it on there. But I do think most of these should launch soon, because we have now the official shade names and everything. Then to something that's been on my sort of YouTube feed for the last couple of days. So Dior has launched some new products in their Backstage lines, and we have a lot. So they have launched cream stick blushes, which initially I thought that why are they launching more of these glowy, I think these are lip glosses, but then I read that okay, these are actually now stick blushes. They are just in a very similar packaging than what some of their lip glosses are in. Then they have come out with what was this? Dior Addict Lip Glow Butter. I do think for Dior this sort of lip butter packaging, it's a bit cheap. I'm gonna be honest. The lip butter is the least interesting product, because I'm not gonna be paying Dior prices for this very cheap looking plastic tube that has a sort of the Dior keychain or something in it. It just looks cheap. And then they are currently I don't know, are they bringing these back or revamping these Backstage Rosy Glow blushes? I was eyeing these when these became very popular. I think it was during last year or the year before that. However, what held me back from buying these was that a lot of people were saying that these blushes hard pan very quickly. So I'm kind of thinking now that did they reformulate these, they have changed the packaging up a bit. So if you have seen these are now more square shaped, when the previous iteration of these blushes were more rectangular ones. So they have changed the packaging, but I do believe the shade looks kind of similar to what they had previously in the powder blushes. But I'm wondering that could they have now reformulated these so that they don't hard pan. So with the powder blushes, I am kind of gonna wait maybe some reviews and see that have they fixed the hard panning issue. However, the Rosy Glow blush sticks, which are $44 US, these were around 46 euros. I did check, these are already available in one of our makeup retailers also. These are gonna go to the Maybe list. These I did see Sophia's Beauty, which is a very good channel if you're looking for reviews from the newest luxury brands. These are quite dewy based on when I saw her. These are very like glowy, glowy liquid blushy, like glowy stick blushes, but I'm still gonna put these in the maybe category. But these products are already available. You can buy these on Dior's website, and I have seen these on quite a few retailers. Then some indie releases. So Terra Cosmetics has launched a eyeshadow palette. I do believe this is an indie brand that's more famous for their singles, so I do think the palette might be something a bit new for them. So this goes to category again of these sort of greenish, reddish leaning eyeshadow palettes that I think quite a few indie brands have been launching, so I do think this seems to be a bit of a trend for this spring-summer season. This looks very beautiful. I saw already a couple of reviews from influencers who have gotten this in PR, but this color story isn't my favorite primary color story for eyeshadow, so I'm skipping this one. But if you like Terra Cosmetics and have always thought that it would be great that they would be launching a palette, this should already be, I think, available on... Yeah, this has already launched by the time this video goes live, so at least you can get this on their website. And if you live in Europe, I do think this might be coming to Monolith Shop's website. I'm not 100% sure, but I do think this might come to Monolith Shop if you are shopping within Europe. Then a collection that's already available on both Glamlite's own website and on Monolith Shop, because this did make it to the last Monolith Shop launch, which was like a week ago, or a couple of weeks ago from when I'm filming this one. So Glamlite has now fully revealed the Lord of the Rings collection that they had been sneak peeking. I really would wish Glamlite wouldn't do this, that they sneak peek for weeks and weeks. I would just wish that... I can get it that you want to build a hype a little bit, so I can do the fact that if for a week's time brands do sneak peeking, but Glamlite has a very bad habit that they sort of drag it on for a little bit too long for my taste. So within this collection there was quite a lot. There was a makeup bag, there was a highlighter, there was an eyeshadow palette, there was a lip, there's 2 lip kits also included. I do have to say I was pretty happy when I saw the eyeshadow palette, because Glamlite has been a bit notorious of late, and of late I mean for the couple of years now, that they launch eyeshadow palettes that kind of look similar to stuff they have launched before, but I actually like the fact that this actually looks very different from what they have come out in terms of color stories. We have this more maybe like pastel and muted colors, so I'm very happy that they actually like put effort in making this sort of different and not make it look like something that they have come out with before. The 2 lip kits I'm kind of meh. Those are, I think, a bit samey for what they have come out with before. Also the highlighter, this is a more golden highlighter, which I'm kind of happy about, because they have been releasing a lot of these white, very white based highlighters, which aren't my kind of favorite highlighter, so I do think the golden one might be something that is maybe perhaps a bit more like pleases a lot more maybe people, because with white based highlighters there's always the issue that they don't look nice on all skin tones. But anyway, this is already available on Glamlite's own website, and if you live in Europe you can shop this on Monolith Shop's website, so there are options. Then something from Essence. So I do think I've been critiquing Essence and Catrice a lot about the fact that they have been launching a lot, but I will actually give Essence now credit. It's been actually a while since they came out with the previous limited edition collection, so I'm not gonna be like dragging them on about that one. So Essence has released their limited edition Aloha Babes collection, and I will give them credit also for the fact that this actually has like makeup and skincare-ish items. With some limited edition collection, especially I think the holiday collection from last year with Essence, I really didn't like the fact that there was more merch items in that rather, or sort of like hair clips and like non-makeup items as opposed to makeup, which is still like Essence is primarily a makeup brand, but this actually, I don't think this has any sort of filler items. All these are like somehow makeup and skincare-esque products. So there seems to be a blush, then we have quite a few lip products. There seems to be a brow gel, which is not something we usually see with this limited edition collection. And then I think the rose thing that I'm seeing in the picture, I think that might be a highlighter. Yeah, looks kind of highlighter-ish. I do think this is cute and fun, but for me this is a skip. Usually Essence's limited edition collections, they don't usually pull me in. Catrice does a little bit better, but with the Essence ones I do think this is more geared towards maybe like teens and pre-teens. Then something very random, but apparently Smurfs, there's a new movie coming, and apparently Fenty Beauty is doing a collaboration with them. This is apparently something that, as far as I'm concerned, you can only buy this in the tin packaging, so unfortunately if you want to buy any of these things separately, I don't think, at least for now, it's possible. But within this sort of thin packaging you get a powder puff, then there's a mirror, then there are some hair clips, there's I think a lip mask, and then quite a few lip products. I think this is cute, and I do think this is very appropriate for a theme, but this is an easy skip for me because I'm not particular Smurf fan, and also these shades and individual products are just something that I'm not gravitating towards. But the movie is apparently coming out July 18th, at least in the States, and also the whole collection that you have to buy together, that's $150 US. Yeah, I don't think for $150 US there's definitely not enough things here for me to be interested in to buy this one. But if you want this, when is this available? It actually is already available, so if you love Smurfs and Fenty, this is already available on Fenty Beauty's own website. Then some NARS. So NARS is apparently releasing 5 new highlighters in shades, 5 shades. So yeah, so apparently this is because I was thinking that I didn't remember NARS having highlighters, but yeah. So these are in sort of rounded packaging, and you're gonna get 5 shades. These are gonna be available in July, so this is quite an early release if it's gonna be July. That's gonna take for a while for these to become available. I think these look nice, but the shade variation here is quite basic. There isn't anything like extraordinary here. I have very similar highlighter shades already in my existing makeup collection, so I'm good. But if you want to get powder highlighters from NARS, these are going to be coming during summertime, and yeah, keep your eyes out for NARS retailers. Okay, I could have gone this with the Dior stuff, but we're getting more Dior. So these are Dior is also coming out new products in their main line, so the previous products I discussed that are already available, those are in the Backstage line, but these are in the main line. So they are coming out with 2 Dior Skin for a Nude Matte filter, so I think these are the powders. And then we're gonna be finally seeing these Dior Forever liquid products in blushes. So they have come out with sort of highlighters, or some of the shades have been able to use them as blush lighters. I have one of these in the pink variation, but now they're coming out with matte sort of blushes in this same sort of liquid format. Should I maybe wait for actually do this? Because we all know that while I do, especially during summertime, like a bit more glowier blushes, the Backstage blush sticks are quite dewy based on the reviews that I've now watched, but these ones, because these are more matte. Let's put a pin on that, and I'm gonna be thinking about that one, because I do think that the matte blush formula could probably be something that I would actually prefer over the stick blushes in the Backstage line. No idea when these are going to be coming out, but I assume because these have been sneak peeked, it's going to be pretty soon. In terms of the blush shades, again, these are quite basic, nothing extraordinary in terms of shade range, but I do think these are quite appropriate for the average Dior customer. Then a mascara that I think I will be getting once this comes to Europe. So e.l.f. has announced a new, the Incredi-Curl Mascara. So I think why I was thinking that I would like this one is that, first of all, it has a very thin looking one that has traditional bristles instead of plastic bristles, and it does say that it would curve and curl and bring extra volume to their lashes. So I tried when e.l.f. launched in our country last year, I tried the lash extender mascara. I did like it, but it wasn't like my absolute favorite mascara, and also I think it was tube in formula, so not my absolute favorite, but I do think it did quite a decent job. So I do think that since that one was quite alright, and this one has a more of a maybe formula and a wand type that I prefer, then yeah, I think I would be in for trying this one. Don't know yet when this is gonna come to the Europe. It usually takes for e.l.f. products they usually launch first in state, and then it takes a couple of months for them to come to Europe, so probably we'll have to wait for a while, but this does seem quite promising in terms of drugstore mascaras. So Makeup by Mario has come out with SoftSculpt Talc-Free blurring bronzers. My question was that didn't he already have bronzers in the line? It could be only that he had like cream bronzers, so it could indeed be that he hasn't had powder bronzers available yet at least. So these are currently have hyaluronic acid, price, comfortable wear, and non-drying feel. These look quite okay, but I have plenty of powder bronzers that I already have in my collection. Also, Makeup by Mario is not a brand that I can easily get, so I would have to order these online. And yeah, I'm just looking at the shade range. The shades that I'm seeing is that there are 6 shades, and these do look quite warm leaning shades. I don't know is it that if in stores there's more shades, but the shades that at least I'm seeing in this image, there's only 6 ones, and the fairest one looks actually more like a powder rather than a bronzer, but if you have an extra fair skin, that could still work as a bronzer. But yeah, I'm a person who prefers to have more of a neutral tone bronzer because I have a cooler undertone. But yeah, if you are a Makeup by Mario fan, then these are probably also, yeah, these are already going to be also available once the video is already live, because these are apparently going to be launching on the 22nd of May, so these are available when the video comes out. But for me, this is a skip because purely the brand is hard for me to get, and also the shade undertones are something that I don't prefer. Then something that's apparently available in Europe, where in Europe, I would very much wish that especially like makeup accounts, when you put that something's available in Europe, please specify in what country, because at least in my country, and I live in Europe, we don't have this yet. But anyway, so Maybelline is coming out with a Fit Me BB cream, and I do think this might be a throwback product, because now when I'm thinking about it, when I was a teenager, I could swear we had a product from Maybelline like this. Maybe they have done repackaging and reformulation. I do think for summer this is a good product. Apparently this has a SPF 50 protection. However, remember, if your foundation's SPF isn't enough, you still need to use SPF under your foundation. But for summertime, this is a good extra to sort of layer over your foundation. And I do think for summertime it's smart, because usually people prefer a bit of a lighter makeup coverage. So it's actually smart for them to launch this like against summer season, and especially since it does have the added SPF in it. Apparently this also promises 24-hour... Its skincare enriched formula protects and hydrates skin for 24 hours. That's a long claim. Please don't wear your makeup 24 hours. That's a long time. Yeah, I have no idea in what European country this is available, because I haven't seen this in our retailers. I also tried to check a couple of like online retailers, didn't see it, so it's available somewhere, but I assume because it's available in one country, and because this seems like a very like summer appropriate product, then we're probably gonna see this soon on also other regions. Then we're apparently already heading to the fall season, so Suqqu's fall collection has been really revealed, and I think the main item in this one are the individual eyeshadows. I'm not a person who likes to pay for individual eyeshadows. I rather pay for eyeshadow palettes. But if you prefer your luxury makeup brands, and you especially like luxury makeup individual eyeshadows, I do believe Suqqu's quality is quite good. But it is a more of a traditional luxury formula based on what I've seen on reviews, so don't expect anything super pigmented. Aside from the individual eyeshadows, there are a couple of lip products and some ombre blushes, but I do think the ombre blushes and lip products look kind of something that we have seen from the brand previously. But yeah, if you've been waiting for Suqqu to come out with individual eyeshadows, you don't have to wait only a few months, because if this is a fall collection, I assume it's going to be launching... No, this is going to be launching on July 18th, so how is it a fall collection if it's launching in the middle of July? Can someone explain that to me? That doesn't make sense. At least for me. Well, on the other hand, we will probably get the first holiday collections immediately once August comes, so a lot of things in the makeup sort of launches don't make sense these days. But anyway, but you can get this already on July, even if it's called a fall collection. So Maybelline is extending their sort of lifter gloss line, so they are coming out with lifter gloss honeyed lip glosses with hyaluronic acid. For me, this seems to be a very, like, just a shade extension with some, like, brownish, and then there's one yellow shade, and also none of these seem to have shimmer, because some of these lifter glosses have a shimmer sparkles in them, and some of them are just, like, a sort of, like, formula without the sparkles, but these ones seem to suggest that you will get a nice glossy sheen instead of the sparkles. I don't need new lip glosses. I actually did like the lifter glosses. I did have one in my collection. I actually used it up, which is a very... Well, with lip glosses, the ones that I actually use a lot, those that I do tend to be able to use up, even though I do have plenty of other lip stuff in my collection. But For me, there isn't a shade that's gonna make me go that I must buy those immediately. But if you've been wanting more of a brownish neutral shades in the electric gloss line, then these should be available soon. So Moira is doing another blush product. Moira has been doing a lot of blush products. Like I think they just recently launched these sort of powder blushes that they had shimmer and matte variations, and now we are gonna have their sort of like liquid blushes in a shimmery formula. So these are the Love Steady shimmer blushes, and these are gonna be launching again on the 22nd of May, so by the time this video goes live, these are already out. I mean, these look quite okay, but just thinking that with Moira is that they have quite a lot of blushes in their range, because they have these blushes in a sort of matte variation, then they have had this sort of like, what is it called, like a cream blush that is in a sort of dome form. Then they have had their cream blushes in these sort of like square compacts, and then they have now the powder blushes in the square compacts, and now they have these in a shimmer variation. So that's a lot of blush, but if you are interested in, I have tried a few of the Moira products, and I do think their quality is pretty decent for the prices they charge for their products. And these also should be already available by the time this video goes live. These are going to be, if you buy these from Moira's website, or if you live in the States, these are going to be $10 US each. So these are very decently priced. Then something that we were teased about already, I think, at the beginning of this year. So Lidl has now revealed the Adventure Time collection. So Adventure Time, I know as much that it is a Netflix cartoon series, so that is basically where my knowledge of this particular IP ends. But I do know it's a very colorful series altogether, so I do actually think when I'm looking at the products now, this is a very well done collaboration in terms of the fact that how well it fits the sort of inspiration. With this one there seems to be quite a lot. There's a very colorful looking eyeshadow palette, then we have some cheek products, and then there's a makeup bag, there's a headband, then there seems to be some lip care products, and then we actually do also get some lip products. There seems to be some lip glosses. I think also the lipsticks look like more glosses because they look more see-through rather than opaque. I do think all of this like looks pretty fun, but for me there isn't anything like interesting in this particular collection, so for me this is a skip. But if you're looking for a fun sort of collaboration, and you especially like more colorful things, I do think this is something to look into, because Lidl is a German-based indie brand, and I do think their quality is pretty nice, but for me this is a skip. Then some more indie releases. So bellabeautébar announced their Ocean Jewel palette. Well, we're gonna already know that I'm gonna be saying it's a skip for me, because this is a jewel toned heavy eyeshadow palette. I do actually like that we kind of have these acid neon pastels in this one, so I do think it's a nice twist, because when I initially saw them sneak peek in this, I was already able to tell from the cover that this is probably gonna be another jewel toned palette, and they used to have another jewel toned palette in their collection, but I do think that luckily this is different enough, because I was a bit afraid that we're gonna get something similar to the previous one they had. So this is a very, what I would say, blue purple heavy, and then we have the sort of like pastel neons, and then there's a couple of like deep reds. If you like your jewel toned like eyeshadows, I do think bellabeautébar's quality is pretty good. They are a bit more expensive in the brand, because they do put a lot of special shades, and I also think their palettes are magnetized, which also raises the price of the palettes. But if you want to buy this from bellabeautébar's website, it's gonna be $75 US, and it's gonna be available on 29th of May, so actually by the time this video is live, it's gonna be pretty close to the launch date. But also, if you live in Europe, I would just wait for Monolith Shop's next launch, because bellabeautébar is something that Monolith Shop stocks, and usually they get the new releases. So if you live in Europe, I would wait up, but if you want to order this from the US, it's gonna be available pretty soon. But for me this is a skip, because it has a color story that I don't particularly gravitate towards. So now we have the full reveal of Blend Bunny and Jordan Liberty's collection. So apparently what I've been able to pick up from that, this is supposed to be now a sister brand and more like makeup artist geared towards a brand that Blend Bunny, I think they like manufacture, and they will sell this on their website. Monolith Shop actually did have a poll already on their website, like Instagram, that what people would like from this one, so I do think that you're gonna also able to get this from Monolith Shop if you live in Europe. So the first launch of this collection, apparently instead of this being an eyeshadow palette, which I initially thought this was, but no, this is a 15 pan face palette. So you basically have every shade of blush in this one that you could ever need. And also apparently the Pro Luster palette, which has the four shades, is the quad. No wait, that's the... Yeah, the Pro... So there's the Pro Cheek palette, which is a magnetic palette that has 15 blushes, that's a lot. Then there's the Pro Luster palette, which is a magnetic quad featuring 4 multi-use multi-luster toppers. So assume the toppers, at least based on the couple of images that I saw, or videos I saw on Blenpani's Instagram stories, was that you can use this as a blush toppers, highlighters, and even probably also as eyeshadow. And then there are lip oil glosses. So they are now, this is a pretty extensive lip oil gloss range, because Blenpani has come out with these sort of lip oils and glosses individually in some of their like limited edition collection, but it's only been a couple of shades at a time. But now they're launching like 12 shades at once, which is quite of a lot. But I do think people have been actually asking them about that, will you come out with the like lip oils or glosses in a permanent line. So I do think this might be an answer to the request that people wanted this sort of lip oil gloss formula in a more permanent line. So people are getting probably what they asked for. And then there are like brushes also included. I don't particularly need anything in this one. I was kind of eyeing the palette, but then I have to say that I had to go like and thinking that yeah, but I'm not gonna need a 15 shade blush palette honestly, because I have a very huge blush collection that's in a need of a decluttering pretty soon, but I can't justify buying any of this one. The lip oils and glosses probably could be something nice to try out, but again I'm not again also that much in a need of a generic lip oil and gloss. But this is already, I think, no, this is going to be launching on Blenpani's website on May 13th. So again, it's going to be a few days when this video is going to go live. And if you live in Europe, then I would again wait for Monoid Shop. They are probably going to stock at least some of these products on their website. And lastly, we're gonna end with the thing that I was thinking that what is happening. So Plouise is going to be launching, I think also on the week that this video is going live, they're gonna be launching a wedding themed collection, and they have, I think, done this like almost yearly or basically every other year. And they have on their website for a long time, this is one of their like staple products, they have had the Wedding XL palette, which is quite of a big palette, but it's still been, I think, within the limit that I've been thinking that, okay, but if you are, for example, bridal makeup artist, then that could be your only go-to palette. Well, I actually also gave the brand credit for the fact that when they announced their budget box for May, they actually brought out a sort of shrunk down version of the Wedding XL palette, which I thought was very nice, because I actually do think the curated palette that's in the budget box, I do think that was quite of a good way to sort of bring that maybe to someone who doesn't want to buy the big one. But apparently they weren't done yet. So aside from bringing out a more shrunk down version of the original Wedding XL palette, they have now come out with an even bigger version of the XL palette. So they are launching this Wedding XXL palette, which is gonna be, we're just gonna focus on the palette. There's other stuff in this collection that you are gonna kind of see within the picture, but we're just gonna focus on the big palette in the picture. So this is basically a 3-tiered palette that has a one whole palette of cream shades, then there's a one whole palette of matte shades, and then there's one whole palette section of shimmer shades. I'm gonna say that even for a makeup artist, first of all, I'm thinking about the fact that like makeup artists, they have to like have their kits to be somehow be able to move them, because most makeup artists, I think also they don't just have a studio, they actually go to their clients to do their makeup. So my first question would be that if I would be a makeup artist, then how am I supposed to drag this thing around with all the other like makeup products that I have to have in order to do a full face of someone's makeup? Also, I do think that with this one, and this is an ongoing theme with Plouise's big palette, there's a lot of repetition within the shades, and also, I'm kind of questioning the fact that because this has a whole palette of cream shades expire much quicker than powders. With powders, if you keep them in a good like storage that there isn't any like good storage that moisture or anything else won't disturb them, good powder quality will last you almost like forever. However, cream shades at some point will expire because that's how the like chemistry just with them goes. So I'm just thinking that okay, well, if you get this one and you absolutely love the formula, but however the cream shades are gonna be expiring at some point. So, and because this is a palette that sort of goes, it's like one single palette that you then can like fold in together. So then you would basically have to rip off the cream shade section of this one, and then you have kind of a broken palette that doesn't go together as nicely anymore because you had to take the one part of this off because of the expiring cream shades. So I'm just having like a lot of questions about the practicality of this one, even though they're kind of advertising this to be that, oh, this is the perfect makeup wedding artist palette, like wedding makeup artist palette. I'm going like that, yeah, but that's so inconvenient. And also the fact that I think the original wedding XL palette that was like large enough, and that was still like powder only palette. So with that one you could also like argue that hey, that it's gonna last a long time, and if you just do a lot of bridal makeup, it's pretty much like had the, I think, ideal bridal shades. But with this one I'm just saying that with the added layer of creams and just the fact that this is still a very bulky and this would be like hard to store and move around, I'm just thinking that this isn't convenient even for a makeup artist. And even for the average makeup user, because honestly an average makeup user, they're not gonna need this many shades of neutral, and there's just very much like overlapping shades. But if you for some reason do think that this is the palette of your dreams, which is good for you that we finally have something for the people who will like this, I think this is going to be available on 28th of May. There's been something a bit funny about this one because I could swear they actually initially announced that this would be already launching on May 20th, but I don't know if they had some issues of getting stock to their warehouse because I do feel that they pushed back the launch date, and I wasn't the only one because I did saw when they made their previous Instagram post, a lot of people were asking in the post that hey, why was the launch date pushed back? But obviously that indicates that there's someone is there like willing to buy this one. But for me this is a skip, but if you are into this one, it's gonna be available soon. I do think some of the like mini things that are launching with this wedding collection, I'm kind of looking at the mini sets and thinking that I could maybe order those at some point, but the big palette is definitely a skip for me. So those were all the releases. I do have to say, aside if we skip the sort of Dior's cheap products that we apparently are again in the season when I'm eyeing that I would really like to buy some Dior cheap products, which seems to be a theme that repeats itself a couple of times a year when I go like that. I could really now go out and buy some Dior cheap products. But aside from those, not a lot of things that I'm looking forward to buy, and that's also probably a good thing, more money to save towards summertime, and also I will be traveling with my husband during summer, so more money towards that. But comment down below, of course, was there any interesting launches for you, or are you just also kind of thinking that yeah, just kind of meh things? But as always, comment down what you think about new launches. If you like this video, push the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell button if you want to get the notifications from my future content. You can also find me with the same nickname, Makeup Hedgehog, on Instagram. I hope I'll see you soon in the video. Bye bye!